Welcome to Experts Explain Trauma. Today we've got Dr. Nay joining us to answer a common question that survivors ask themselves, as well as giving us tips to help us on our healing journey. Okay, Dr. Nay, thank you for being here today. Here is our next question. Is something wrong with me for craving attention from someone who abused me?
No, because what happens is that even after you leave, it's a very common symptom to long for your ex. And there's a reason why, because when you're with that partner, the highs are so high, right? So you experience so much oxytocin, so much dopamine, but the lows are so low where you experience all those negative neurotransmitters like cortisol and adrenaline and norepinephrine. And so what happens is that it actually creates a biochemical cocktail inside of you where you really get addicted to these highs and these lows. And because your brain, remember, it gets flooded with stress hormones, right? And then it gets flooded with oxytocin and dopamine. And so that's not just a feeling. That's happening because your brain and nervous system and hormones and endocrine system are all working together. And so you literally get addicted to this person. And so you get withdrawal. And so that longing is very normal.
I'm so glad you're sharing this because that is something that makes us feel crazy, right?
Mhm.
It makes no sense. But what is encouraging and kind of scary is that it is something that's outside of us that's causing this and creating this,
Yes.
but the knowledge of that is okay, so it's not me, it's something that how my body's reacting, what I'm used to, and there's got to be a way out, right?
Yeah. And I have actually, I think I just packed this away, but wait, where is it? I have actually something called Healing Withdrawal from Your Trauma Bond. Okay. So it's a worksheet because what I have women do is I'll say, let's say they say this. This is a withdrawal thought. Nobody will ever understand me like they do. You do a neurobiological reframe. My brain formed unique neural pathways in response to their unpredictable behavior, creating an illusion of special connection.
Ooh, ooh.
Right? So you're correcting
Oh
it.
my gosh,
So
yes.
you're correcting. So I have a bunch of withdrawal thoughts and then a bunch of neurobiological reframes. I'm pretty sure this is on my website. Um, and like I have to have them do these exercises because longing for your ex after a trauma bond is really an atypical trauma symptom that really only trauma bond survivors get.
Okay.
In a normal relationship, you don't have like, even when you break up, you don't have this crazy withdrawal like that.
Yeah, and it is a withdrawal. It is like it feels like it does feel like a withdrawal. I mean, I've never been addicted to drugs or something, but well, I was addicted to cigarettes. I smoked cigarettes. And the withdrawals and that were horrific when I quit. I mean,
So
that
same
was
thing.
yeah, it is. It's the same thing. And it is something that you feel like you absolutely cannot control. I described it for me as it would literally felt like it was physically pulling me towards him.
Yes, and that's why no contact is so important for this very reason, right? Because as you know, if you're addicted to cocaine, you can't go back and take another hit.
True.
It's that's why people go cold turkey with smoking and with drugs,
Mhm.
and because, of course, like unless it's like a medical detox, of course, and somebody's
Right.
asking you. But yeah, because to go back and take another hit, you're back in it.
That is a beautiful example. I'm going to remember that because it is so true. We need to recognize that it is an addiction. And what that does, though, is it sets a different parameter in your head about who you are and what's going on. Because for me, I felt crazy. But now that we understand, okay, this is something physically that does happen in your body that you
That's
cannot necessarily control. And but there is a way out. And you don't have to be, but it is different. It is different. I go back to those moments. Like I'm not there anymore, thank God. But I go back to that and just that desperate, lonely,
yeah.
scary emotions and feelings that went on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very, very painful and it's very hard. That's why you need support.
Absolutely.
Can't do it alone. You need
No. You definitely need support, and you need to be in therapy as well, for sure. So what could someone do to start working through this? Because this is a big one, and I'm sure you're going to say they need a lot of support around them while they're doing this.
I mean, the thing is, first of all, awareness helps. So, contextualizing it the way we have, right? That it's like a neurobiochemical addiction can really help. And so, what do you do when you're addicted? You don't go back to the substance. You go to a support group, right? When you're really, really bad, you call somebody like an accountability person, right? Somebody to talk you off the ledge and say, okay, yeah, maybe you did take that wonderful trip to Greece, but let me also name the 5 things that happened on the trip, right? So again, with this trauma bond, the way I talk about it, and that's why the way I work is the women in my community, they have meditations, they have journal prompts, they have lessons, they have group because you got to attack it.
Yeah, at all angles, right? At all angles.
You got to attack it at all angles. And I know it sounds extreme, maybe if you haven't gone through this,
Yeah.
but if you have, you get it.
hmm But it does get better. So it's not like you have to attack it and stay on it. But what you're saying is, in the beginning, you need to attack it hard. And you're right. The no contact is absolutely critical, and that is what keeps you from getting pulled back in. And you're right. It is so hard not to pick up that phone and call that person, but you can call someone else.
And I know, it's I've had girls in my group, they do the funniest things like they'll make up like instead of because sometimes they have children, right? So they do have
Yeah.
to act. So they'll put literally like the devil instead of his name.
Yeah.
You know, they'll put like these funny things with me, things also too, just to like remind them of who they're talking to.
That's a good one. Yeah. So in your phone, like change their name to the
Yeah.
devil or something.
They come up with the best things. Then they came up with another fantastic idea. You know how we do like dream boards, like vision
hmm
boards? She's like she wants to come up with a reality board.
Ooh.
Yeah, of all the things that they've done. So these are creative ways to kind of shock your brain. I get it all from them.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
You know,
and it's great to have the group, because what's important about the group is so often when we're on our own and trying to do this healing on our own, we think like I said, we think we're crazy. There's these things that go through our head, and then we get into a group and we talk with other women who've dealt with it, and they are dealing with the same exact thing.
same exact thing. It's so validating. You don't feel crazy, and resilience cannot be built in isolation. That much we know for sure.
That is true. And I did a lot of my healing on my own only because there wasn't the stuff out there that there is today.
That's right.
Because I'll tell you the difference between doing the healing on my own, which was slow. It happened. It was very slow. But once I got into trauma therapy, that's when it really began to escalate. That was huge. And
I bet you it moves so much quicker.
way quicker. I mean, it was expedited compared to what it was before, because before it was years.
Yeah, yeah.
Years. So I really like your recommendation to look at this as like an addiction and treat it like an addiction. I think that's beautiful because that's exactly what it is. It just looks different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's great. Okay. Well, that's a good resolution for that one. I like it a lot. Thank you.
you're welcome.
If this question resonated with you, let us know in the comments. And if you have a question that you'd like answered, you can email me at asklisatickle@gmail.com. Be sure to follow so that you can get more insightful information about trauma healing.